So one of the joys of being completely self-taught, whether it's any discipline, as I am with photography and video and all that fun stuff, is that occasionally you do things the hard way for a long time until you realize you've been doing it the hard way. Um, One of the problems I've run into with video specifically is color correcting. Um, I have a decent Photoshop background and do a lot of work in Lightroom. So if I have an understanding of color, of course, and don't have a problem doing it, making a good still image. But working with video has been a whole new ball of wax, especially working with log footage. Pretty much everything I've read or watched online prior to starting to shoot or while I've been shooting is as suggested work with log footage. You have more dynamic range in the long run. Handles better for color correcting. Just gives you more flexibility, as you all know. Well, that's all fine and dandy, but if you're not, if you have like no idea what you're doing with color correcting, it's kind of a pain in the ass. Hence, almost everything I've shot looked kind of flat. Colors just look muted. And I've been, like watching videos of other guys shooting, drone footage, and it looks amazing. I'm like, well, why can't I get that without resorting to a different preset that's like a baked in, Instagram style look off the drone, or off my Sony or my phone for that matter. Um, I basically just had that aha moment today that I'm sure everybody else is long since known when it comes to doing color correcting, which is the input LUT. Sorry, a little bit of fuzz here on my shirt. There's very like little explanation when you read a lot of the color correcting, as far as input LUTs. I mean, everybody's talking about there's a bunch of tutorials on Resolve, a little bit less on Premiere that I've found that are useful. So I just happened to like look at this today, try to figure, I was trying to read my workflow a little bit. I went outside and shot some stuff with my my Lens Baby twist lens, Twist 60. Has a great little swirly effect. That'd be kind of neat. Maybe do shot a bunch of stuff at 60 frames, load it down to 24. Take a little bit of a slow-mo effect with the wind. And while farting around, once again I shoot in log or S-Log, and just a little flat. And I was like, well, maybe I'll try looking Lumetri again and see if I can maybe figure this out. And was looking for LUTs for the camera, and I've tried some of the S-Log to Rec 709 LUTs on Resolve, but it was always on the output side of things. I never really tried looking on the input side of things. And I just tried that day through Lumetri, like, maybe I'll just, I figured out how to do the adjustment layer, which is new for me, and within Lumetri, I should say. Got that set in. Sorry, sun's coming out. I see it's adjusting the color quite a bit on my phone here. Let's see if we can get that fixed. There we go. So I got that going, got the conversion set over, and instantly the footage looks good. I was like, it's one of those facepalm aha moments. Everybody else on the planet knows how to do this. It just took me a couple months of posting videos every day and shooting to figure out the most basic of shit, because I didn't bother taking a class, didn't bother signing for lynda.com, didn't bother talking to anybody else about how to do this, just sort of hacking away at it. But long story short, or 4 minutes and 9 seconds short, I now how to have a better idea of color correcting. I might try to get out and do a little bit of drone flying this afternoon. The weather's not perfect. There's a lot of clouds coming in and out. Has why my camera's been auto adjusting here, the exposure, and there's been wind gusts. We've had a lot of that last couple weeks where it looks totally fine, and then a good 10-mile-an-hour gust will come through, and the clouds are kicking pretty good, which means the higher elevation winds are a lot higher, and the Mavic just doesn't dig the wind. But I have my lens hood brand new. I'm really excited to try, so I can actually get less prop shadow coming through, and I got the filters from DJI, which means I get a little slower shutter speed. So it's kind of that, do I try, do I not? I think I might head over to the park a little bit and see if I can get up in the air and get some shots. But it might be one of those days where I just have to call it good and just stick with the stuff I've shot before. All that being said, my buddy Ronan is coming in from Dublin about 6 o'clock. And tonight will be another night out of the pub, catching up and having some good times. I did get the majority of my programming done with Ableton for work. Seem to have okay handle on the program. Still running a couple issues, primarily with getting the scenes to change. I cannot for the life of me get a pedal board to communicate properly with Ableton. I'm using a Mastermind GT pedal by RGM, which can pretty much wash your dishes if you spend enough time programming it. And I do have a kill switch that I had programmed into previous software I've been using. One button, like stop the click kind of deal, which is just in a MIDI note, and that works fine. However, if I do the patch changes, I'm getting all kinds of weirdness going in with Ableton. Looking at MIDI monitor, the RGM is sending out a bunch of no change information, a bunch of control information, but nothing's actually being changed. It's just, like CC, which is 0 numbers, which is probably just the way I set up the RGM when I first set it up. I just didn't really care because the software I was using only was looking at one thing. It worked fine. So I tried eliminating all those, got to the point where it's literally just a program change, and Ableton is looking at it. It's turning any program change I do into a CC pitch bend, which I wouldn't care if it saw pitch bend as being assigned for patch 1 or scene 1, but every scene is calling it a pitch bend no matter what button I push. I've looked at MIDI monitor and it's not the pedal. The pedal is sending out exactly what I want to send. So I'm going to see if I find a couple Ableton experts who can help me out with this one. I had a few friends who said they think they've run that problem before and it's an obscure setting. But it's something I need to get fixed before we start working again, because the last thing I want to be doing is messing with the computer during the show. I mean, I've got enough computers on stage, but last thing I would be doing is tabbing through songs. I really want the one button push on a pedal board, which is why I have it, to change all the gear I have, which is a lot. So if anybody has any tips on that one, please send me a message, put in the comments below, whatever. I can use all the help I can get. Anyways, I've been rambling on for about 8 minutes now, so I'm going to go out and see if we get a little more footage while the weather's being agreeable and get this thing edited before I head off to meet my buddy Ro. Catch you guys later. Alright, so I just did a little bit of flying with the drone and trying out the new ND filters. Today probably wasn't the best day. It's kind of clouds rolling in. It's near the end of the day. So you're getting like a lot of contrast, and it was pretty hard to try to keep a proper exposure. So I'll try it again tomorrow. But overall, pretty cool. I'm pretty happy with them. I do find with the lens hood I have that I'm gonna have to do some cutting on it. It's a little too tight. So whenever you do like either hard turns or take the gimbal all the way up, I don't have it set to do the past level, like extra 30 degrees, but even just when it levels out, you can kind of see the top lens a little bit. So I think I'm gonna probably take a blade or maybe a Dremel and just kind of cut that open just a little bit more, so there's less chance of getting that in a shot. But overall, pretty cool. Trying to find areas in my neighborhood where I can fly, where I'm not running the risk of pissing anybody off. Which seems to be a common thing with drones these days. And the first park I was testing out is there's nobody there. It's great, but it's kind of, I feel like I'm not a lot of things that not a lot of great scenery. So I've been trying to this other park down the street a little bit, which is nice. There's a little more variety, some houses, some roads, a viaduct.
But you definitely be aware of people. As I was landing, I had the drone about maybe 8 feet in front of me, 8-10 feet, and about head height. And it was just about to initiate the landing procedure, and an older gentleman was walking down the path and literally walked right around me. He was about to walk. He had his headphones in, and was about to walk straight into it. Like, just was completely oblivious that it was at his head height, and he didn't notice it until I did like emergency descent with it to get it out of his way. So I'm glad I was paying attention, because he certainly wasn't. But aside from that, good day of flying a little bit. Just about 20 minutes in the air, so it wasn't a ton. But worthwhile to try out the filters. I'm gonna get this back to my house, to put footage in, see what it looks like, see if I got anything useful out of it. As I mentioned earlier, super excited to finally figure out how to use the input LUT feature in Premiere, and the footage just it makes footage look good, as you guys all know, aside from me until about an hour ago. But yeah, I'm gonna hit the grocery store first, grab some groceries, then go home, dump the stuff in, and do a post. So see you guys in a bit.